It turns out roof shingles are very forgiving of mistakes, but that didn't matter. I didn't make any mistakes, except for the fact that I made all the mistakes. Some of them twice, just to be sure. Hola! I'm Mike, and what did I do now? Put shingles on my shed, also the sheathing, fascia, underlayment, and ridge caps. Wow, that's a lot. Did I do all that myself? No, I had help from a very underpaid professional.
Roofing can be fun. I prefer to watch.
Oh well, if you want something done right, yeah, I want this done right. I'm going to see if I can get them to help anyway. Sheathing is first. I was thinking of starting with the shingles first, but there wouldn't be anything to attach them to. Deadmen were screwed to the fascia boards to keep the 7/16 OSB from sliding off the roof, but more importantly, it was to make sure the edges all lined up. The shed has 8-foot long walls, and because I have a 1-foot overhang on each side, it's a total of 10 feet. The rafters are 2 feet apart. The sheathing needs to start from the edge and stop in the middle of a rafter. So the bottom 2 rows need a 7-foot long piece and one 3 feet long. The first row was completely nailed down with 2-inch galvanized nails. The long board on the second row starts on the side with the first row short board. I was able to get to some of the areas from inside the shed because I'm very tall. In other words, you want to stagger them like bricks. Because if there's one thing I understand, it's bricks. Roofing? We'll figure that out as we go. All the sheathing should have a small gap. This is necessary so heat and humidity doesn't swell the OSB and cause buckling. Nails is a standard trick to keep the gap. Speaking of gaps, the gap at the top is important. If you're using a ridge vent, you want the gap to be, 2 to 4 inches. And you would also cut away any underlayment if you're using a ridge vent. I'm not, so my gap can be much smaller, but not too small because you don't want the sheathing to expand, make contact, and cause a waviness in the ridge line. 1/2 inch is the standard. As you can see, is what I did. Totally on purpose. The last 2 areas should be 3 feet long pieces, 1.5 feet tall, but I ran out of OSB, so I stitched together 2 smaller ones. Structurally, it's fine. Everything lands on rafters, but more seams means slightly less stiffness. On a shed, totally fine. On a house, the inspector might have a conniption, which is a technical term. But that's kind of the theme here. The whole system is more forgiving than it looks, which is great because I made mistakes. Didn't I? The shed needs a facial. That should say fascia. The fascia roof moldings need to be put on next because the drip edges need to go on them and the underlayment goes on under the drip edges. The deadman trick was used under the eaves to hold the 10-foot moldings in place while 3 framing nails secured the molding and then followed up with several trim nails. The process was repeated on the other side. The gable moldings were held in place with 3 deadmen, including one on the end. I'll talk more about trim in a future video. These are LP SmartSide trim boards, cut to size, primed, and painted. The underlayment goes over the drip edge on the eaves, but under the drip edges on the rake. So a 10-foot flashing was nailed down on the eaves with the roofing nailer. This first piece of underlayment was cut using a couple pieces of siding as a work area. I chose the synthetic stuff. It's arguably better. It's water resistant, not completely waterproof, but way better than tar paper. It also doesn't tear, can stay exposed in the sun, and is much lighter. It's basically the same price as tar paper. Tar paper is good if you're used to it. It will lay flat and won't roll up on you, and it kind of self-seals around the nails. Plastic caps are used to fasten the underlayment, about every 8 inches on the edges and 12 inches in the field. And yes, a dedicated tool is a thing for this job, because of course there is. This is roofing. All these nails seem like overkill, and they are. This thing is nailed down like it owes somebody money. But it's recommended to use this many nails in the event that the roof stays unshingled and a windstorm happens. Sheets need to overlap a minimum of 4 inches, which was not an issue on my 10-foot roof. I didn't feel too sure-footed up there, but laying over the peak helped. Now's a good time to talk about roof safety. Don't fast forward. This is something I wish I knew. And we'll see if we can keep you entertained with socket while I talk about it. My roof is a 412 pitch. The way a pitch is determined is for every 12 inches horizontally, the roof raises by the first number, in my case, 4 inches. How did I come up with a 412 pitch? Dice, naturally. That's how all structural decisions are made. 412 is on the steep side. I'm having trouble walking around up there. What I discovered later was the thing that would have made my life 80% easier. A toe board could have been used for the sheathing and underlayment and made the job that much easier and safer. See, that wasn't so bad. Safety off. With the underlayment in place, the rake drip edges can now be installed. This shot illustrates the assembly perfectly. It goes over the eave drip edge so water can run over and off, and it goes under the rake drip edge so it can be held down and any trapped water should simply run down to the eave. 2 cuts are made in the flashing and gravity folds it over at that point. It is too short to go all the way to the other eave, so it's then cut off about a foot from the peak. Like the first piece, another one has 2 45-degree angles cut in it so it can be folded 90 degrees at the eave corner, tucked under the underlayment and held in place with a nail. The flashing is cut, leaving about 8 inches of overlap with the other piece, then placed under that piece so water can run down and over. Then several nails hold the drip edge and the clamps down the underlayment. And that's how you wrap that rascal. I don't know if that's the official term, but it is now. Finally, we're ready to put on shingles. And if you've been wondering, now is when I get help from the fan.
Yeah, he comes over and wants me to hold the ladder, and he doesn't even have a beer for me.
After priming his pump with a beer, the fan and I started with a starter strip. I used this peel and stick shingle roll. I only needed 20 feet, and this roll provided the smallest amount of linear feet, so it was cost effective and pretty damn easy, which is suspicious because nothing else in this project was. Now to lay down some shingles. I started from the back with a full shingle, putting them on end to end and leaving the extra hanging over the rake. For the second row, the first shingle has 8 inches cut off in order to get a proper brick-like pattern so water does not have a continuous seam to run down. This is technically wrong. The instructions for GAF shingles says to cut 6 inches off the start of the second row, 11 inches from the third, and 17 inches from the fourth. Well, that's intuitive. I guess this is so the pattern will line up like in the instructions here. The roof of my shed was compared to the roof of my house. Whatever. They didn't do it either. The next thing to pay attention to is the nail pattern. I did this somewhat correctly. Manufacturers will provide exact measurements for where the nails should go, but 4 equally spaced nails, 1 inch inset from each end, is sufficient. However, manufacturers also recommend 6 nails to help with high winds. If 6 nails is better, why would you do 4? To save the cost of 4 cents a nail? 4 cents don't make no sense. Next up is nail placement, and I did this pretty wrong, with some places being worse than others. Laminated shingles have a nail line. Should be stupid proof, right? Nope. Turns out, the proof is in the stupid. I thought this was the line where you overlap the shingles to. My nails were generally way too high and possibly misplaced badly enough that I missed the common bond, where the 2 pieces of laminates are sealed together. Nails in this area hold both pieces down. I'm losing that strength and my roof will be susceptible to high winds. Speaking of overlap, yeah, I did that wrong too. Going almost a half an inch too high. The top shingle should line up with the top of the scallop of the shingle below it. The good news here is this is a minor problem, which is great because I was not prepared for a major one. Technically, it means each shingle overlaps the one below it less than intended and could let wind-driven rain in. But because this is such a small amount, it's unlikely. Getting back to what I did right, I enlisted the fans' help.
Hey, looks like you're gonna do something right after all.
Don't get used to it. Laminated shingles are heavy. Without help, I would have had to climb the ladder hundreds of times bringing shingles up. I could have maybe built something to help me do this, like a series of shelves to place them so I could do many at a time, but I had help. So I didn't. The toe board is an obvious win here. When I play this clip in fast motion, you can see how comfortably I can navigate back and forth with the shingles. It was ridiculously easy to do while mysterious at the same time. The board simply gets screwed down through the shingles and into the sheathing below. I used 3 screws, which was enough because I didn't fall, which is my benchmark for success. When you remove the board, you seal the screw holes with roofing cement. Simple. Okay, enough warm and fuzzies. Here's my next mistake. Not so much of a mistake. This whole section is like one big tip. How close do the shingles get to the ridge line? I don't know. Didn't see that explained in any videos. Apparently everyone knows this, except me. It turns out there is a standard. The gap between the shingles at the peak should be about 1 inch. If the shingles on each side touched, this would create a point, and the ridge cap would have too sharp of a bend, possibly causing creases and cracks. If the gap is too wide, the ridge cap won't have any support and be susceptible to damage. That's not the only problem. Looking at the shot with my last row of shingles, I pretty much nailed the gap, pun intended, but that doesn't work. Here's the problem I ran into. If you place the nail line exactly where all the others are placed, your last row will end up too low, and the ridge cap won't cover the nails. To fix the situation, I cut several shingles in half lengthwise and used them to cover the nails and extend the shingle line. That was an acceptable fix, but I wondered what the pros do. Turns out, they cheat. On the last row, they'll place the nails higher so they'll be covered. Those sneaky pros. The non-cheating pros will cut 3 inches off the top of the shingle so that the nails are covered. Another thing, when several rows from the top, they plan out how to land that last row in the exact position they want by overlapping the shingles an extra amount. Now all that's out of the way, let's put some ridge caps on. The top half of a ridge cap is used as a starter shingle. The first full ridge cap is placed on top of the starter and nailed down, then continued on down the line, lining up the overlapping shingle to the black line. It's not obvious from the first angle, but the second angle shows another mistake. The ridge cap on the right side is overhanging the roof shingle. This is not ideal. That's a wind catcher. You can see from this angle I started okay, but something was not lined up and I lost my edge.
I've been telling you that for years.
What? No, you're not supposed to be in this video. The last ridge cap is cut down to match the edge of the roof. It probably could have just overlapped the previous cap by an extra 3 inches. But either way, the surety is nailed down and now the bottom end of the first ridge cap is placed on top of that and nailed down. The exposed nails are covered with roof glue. The excess shingles needed to be cut. I struggled with this. The pro way to do it is my first attempt, using a hook blade. I got through a single layer okay, but as soon as I hit a double layer, I gassed out. There has to be a better way! Turns out there wasn't. I read that a carbide tooth saw blade works, but I don't have one, and I doubt it works because I used my reciprocating saw. While it cut pretty well, the blade got very gummed up and cutting started getting difficult. My solution? Tin snips. The least correct tool. That worked the best. Still not easy and you need some muscle, but I got through it. Here's my handiwork. Looks great, doesn't it? Don't pacify me, this looks like crap. Behold, my masterpiece of a shed roof. Will it hold up? Denton doesn't get many windstorms, and I have the benefit of the trees behind the fence blocking the wind. But if the shingles blow off, I'll just redo it. More content. I let my HOA know this was a practice shed. But hopefully my mistakes are your wins, and you can now do a perfect roof, or at least better than this. Nah, it's pretty good. Oh, I've got a fan online. Hey, fan, did you like the video?
It's impressive what we could do with enough mistakes. I'm one useful person.
Thanks, fan. Did you like the video? No, you. Did you like the video? As in, click that like button. By the way, the shed's not done. There's no moldings, no windows. There ain't even a door. Those tasks went mistake-free, except for the fact that it was not mistake-free. There were about 100 mistakes. I'm thinking about a way of making my mistakes into a currency, kind of like crypto. Let's see. There was a point there. Oh, subscribe so you can watch that next video. What Did Mike Do Now is every Wednesday, noon Eastern. In the meantime, watch How to Mount LP Smart Siding. That went mistake-free by Mike the Taskmaster.
Or Mike, the mismeasuring mistake maker.
Hey, one fan at a time.
I really liked my part. I think I really nailed it. Holding the ladder for you. That turned out great. Maybe I should be a professional shingle thrower-upper. Hey, who was that guy last week?
Hey, who was that guy this week?
He's just staring at me.